Queen Victoria's reign was an epoch unto itself. For over 6 decades, she symbolized a global empire and forged one of the most enduring legacies in British history. Yet, what often eludes public knowledge is that when her casket was finally sealed, it held more than just the monarch herself. It contained an array of objects, deeply personal, shrouded in mystery, and even hinting at scandal. Today, we delve into the curious contents placed within Queen Victoria's coffin, exploring what these artifacts reveal about the woman, the sovereign, and the vast empire she left behind. To truly grasp this, we must journey back to the dawn of the 20th century. By 1901, Victoria had ruled for over 60 years. At 81, she was the matriarch to much of Europe's royalty and a living embodiment of the British Empire at its zenith. But beneath her formidable public persona, Victoria harboured a profound well of emotion, sentimentality, and closely guarded secrets. Her passing on January 22nd at Osborne House on the Isle of Wight initiated one of the most elaborate royal funerals in British history. Central to this process was the preparation of her body for its final resting place, and it is here that the narrative becomes truly intriguing. For Victoria had left remarkably precise instructions concerning what was to accompany her into the grave. Victoria's deathbed was a crowded scene of family, physicians, and attendants. However, one individual she specifically desired by her side in her final moments was her Indian servant, Abdul Karim, affectionately known as the Munshi. In her meticulous written directives, Victoria explicitly detailed the arrangements for her body and the items to be interred with her. The inventory was extensive and, for a monarch, rather unconventional. Firstly, her attire. Victoria had spent decades in mourning following the untimely death of her beloved consort, Prince Albert, in 1861, rarely donning anything other than black for the remainder of her life. Yet, for her burial, she selected a striking departure. Victoria requested to be clad in her white wedding veil, the very same veil she wore on February 10, 1840, when she exchanged vows with Albert. It was a profoundly symbolic gesture, a return to his side, even in death. Nestled within the coffin were photographs, one, naturally, of Prince Albert, and another, notably, of her servant Abdul Karim. The inclusion of Abdul was a source of intense controversy within the royal household, many resenting his perceived influence over the Queen. After Victoria's passing, her successor, Edward VII, ordered the destruction of much of Karim's correspondence. Yet this final act ensured that his memory would forever remain intertwined with hers. Perhaps the most enigmatic and contentious item placed in her coffin was a ring. However, it was not a wedding band belonging to her or Prince Albert. It was a ring that had once belonged to John Brown, Victoria's devoted Scottish servant, and, according to persistent historical whispers, possibly something more than just a servant. Brown had been extraordinarily close to Victoria during her long widowhood, leading some to speculate about a secret, unproven marriage. This ring, reportedly slipped onto Victoria's finger by her doctor at her express wish, had been a gift from Brown's mother years earlier. Thus, in death, Victoria was accompanied not only by Albert, but by the two men who had held such profound significance in her extended widowhood, John Brown and Abdul Karim. But the inventory did not end there. Her coffin also contained a lock of Prince Albert's hair, his cherished dressing gown, a plaster cast of Albert's hand, several of Victoria's treasured personal handkerchiefs, and various family trinkets and small objects imbued with personal meaning. Essentially, Victoria had curated within her own coffin a private museum, an emotional time capsule encapsulating her marriage, her profound grief, her most intimate companions, and her deeply held personal allegiances. Victoria also defied tradition in the solemn conduct of her funeral. Unlike preceding monarchs, she stipulated a military funeral, a reflection of her dual role as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and Empress of India. She also expressly forbade the colour black. Her funeral procession was a striking display of white horses, white plumes, and military uniforms. For the first time since Prince Albert's death, the colour white re-emerged in her life, or rather, in her death. Victoria was interred alongside Prince Albert in the Royal Mausoleum at Frogmore, a sanctuary she had commissioned decades earlier as an enduring testament to their love. Today, the mausoleum is closed to the public for restoration, but within its hallowed walls still rests Victoria's coffin, preserving its unique collection of sentimental objects. In a profound way, Victoria's burial offers a more intimate glimpse into her private self than any number of state ceremonies ever could. For a monarch who presided over an immense empire, commanded formidable armies, and oversaw some of the most dramatic political transformations in British history, Victoria's final requests serve as a poignant reminder that, at her core, she was also simply a person. A widow who grieved her husband for decades, a woman who found solace in the companionship of individuals the royal court disdained, a sovereign who, even in death, never fully conformed to the rigid formalities of her own government. The items inside Queen Victoria's coffin are more than just peculiar relics. They are echoes of a deeply human narrative, sealed within a lead-lined casket for over a century. A queen who, in her end, carried her heart's most precious secrets with her. Thank you for watching. If you're intrigued by the royal funerals of British monarchs and the more unusual burial customs of European royalty, stay tuned. That's a story for another video. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.